Hello, I am the head of the Mechanical and Automotive Engineering Department at Okan University, Dr. Başar Özkan, and I will explain some of the things that mechanical and automotive engineers do with the use of this vehicle that we have, the cutout of the vehicle that we have. And I'm sure that in the past you have heard of kinetic energy, which is basically the energy that a moving object has, right? So energy is very important in engineering. And where does this energy come from? Basically, to get this vehicle moving, you have the internal combustion engine, which burns a fuel. So it's a fossil fuel, usually diesel or gasoline. And the problem with burning these fuels is they cause pollution. So they cause pollution which comes out of the exhaust, which is bad for our health. And it also produces carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas that is also causing global warming, which is bad for the environment. So what we want to do is, as an engineer, you want to be able to move this vehicle with as little energy usage as possible. You want to use as little fuel as possible. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make this car light, right? The heavier it is, the more energy you need for the vehicle to move. So mechanical engineers usually use steel, which is a very useful material. And you will see in the material science class that it is very useful from certain perspectives, but it is also heavy. So some car manufacturers have started using aluminum at some parts of the car, and some sports cars are using carbon fiber. So that makes it even lighter, but it is more expensive. So these are some of the ways that you can make this car lighter. And also mechanical engineers and automotive engineers, they design every part of this machine, of this whole thing. So every part is designed to be strong enough to not break or yield, bend more than a certain amount. And it's supposed to be as light as possible. So you do the design accordingly so that it doesn't fail. And you use different formulas in machine design class, and you also use computer programs and finite element methods, and all of these to design the vehicle to be light and strong. And another thing that you want to do is you want to have an efficient internal combustion engine. So you want to improve the efficiency of this internal combustion engine. You all know that diesel engines are more efficient than gasoline engines. So you will see in your thermodynamics class why this is so, and also in your internal combustions class. And for example, to use less energy, you want to have a good smooth shape of the car, because on the highway when you're traveling you are pushing out the air, you are pushing away the air, which is a fluid, and that is taking the energy of the car. So the fluid mechanics class, which teaches you about air and liquids, which are all fluids, and according to that class you will learn some techniques, and you will see why the shape of the car has to be smooth and in a certain way to cause less drag so that you use less fuel. So that's another class that you will learn different things about to improve the efficiency. And we can see that there is another thing. We talked about kinetic energy. What about when this car crashes? What happens? What happens to that kinetic energy? So it doesn't disappear. It needs to go somewhere. So you can see these parts over here. If you look here, you can see these plastic parts which will compress to absorb this energy, and it will take away the energy that will be translated to the driver and the occupants. So this place compresses to take away the energy, and this place should not be compressed so that the driver is safe. And another thing about kinetic energy, for example, so we said when you're traveling, the car has kinetic energy. When you press the brake pedal, the car slows down, right? It stops. So what happens to that kinetic energy? The brake pedal, when you press it, it squeezes the brake discs, which slow the car down, so it turns into heat there. So you lose that energy because it is turning into heat. So in a few years we will move into electric vehicles, and one advantage of electric vehicles is that you can use the electric motor as a generator when you're slowing down instead of the brakes, and you can charge the battery with that energy, so you gain some of that energy back and you put that back in the battery. And until that happens, we will probably go in the process of hybrid cars, which have both electric and internal combustion engines together, so that you don't need to charge the battery. And there's one more thing I want to show you on this car, which is this thing right here. So this is, for example, to when a car hits you from the side, it is to protect the passengers from the impact, right? If this was not here, this would compress and go right into the passenger. And you can also see how complex this simple window mechanism is that brings up and down the car. So you can see that many mechanical and automotive engineers work together to make this car happen. Okay, so that's a brief introduction to what mechanical and automotive engineers do.